Yo, what is up, YouTube? GTA 6 had a massive leak, okay? And a lot of people are freaking out about it, right? It's a ton of information dropped. Rockstar confirmed that the leak was real. It's so much that as a former developer, I don't actually feel comfortable just going through everything that's in the leak. So instead, what I want to do is in this next video, you are going to see a conversation between me and a game developer, GTA Wise Guy, where we talk about what we want to see in GTA 6. Because I've gone through the leak, I've seen the stuff, and yeah, everyone's focusing on some of the nitty gritty details, but I want to talk to you guys about what I want to see in Grand Theft Auto 6, what I see for the future of Grand Theft Auto, and especially we have GTA Wise Guy to give some of his thoughts. For those who don't know who GTA Wise Guy is, he's one of the lead developers for the largest, probably most popular roleplay server in GTA called NoPixel. You've seen many of your favorite streamers stream there. This is one of the main and lead developers on that server. He and I are talking about GTA, talking a little bit about the leaks and what scares us about them, and then especially talking about GTA 6 and what we hope for the future. Hope you guys enjoy the talk, enjoy the video. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thanks. Wise Guy says, I feel like the story is very important to set the tone. Dude, we need to get Wise Guy. We need to get you in a Discord call.
Hello. Can you hear me?
What's up? Yeah. I mean, like, dude, if nothing else, at least people are talking about it. It's exciting. Byron gave the caveat to my stream. When I tweeted that, I didn't know the extent of the leak. So yeah, I'm not talking about the leaks because that shit sucks.
I know exactly what you tweeted. I just know about your you wanted to talk about it on your stream or whatever.
Someone's like, yo, there's GTA 6 leaks. And I was like, oh, like some like screenshot got leaked, or like, I don't know, some like heist thing was like, oh, like cool. Like what I wonder what it is, right? Yeah. I saw the extent of the leaks. I'm like, man, I would never want to touch that. Like, that's the kind of stuff where, like, if it wasn't for the fact that this is Rockstar's, like this is something where if a leak of that extent happened for one of the R&D games at Riot, we might have canceled the game, like, just straight up. Like, you might just go back to the drawing board.
It's so unheard of for Rockstar as well. Because it's such a huge scale. I don't even know how Rockstar would react to it, to be honest.
I know Rockstar keeps things super close, but what's really funny is leaks are way more prevalent nowadays because of weirdly because of COVID in the dev world. Because everyone just shares stuff online now.
Slack, Discord.
Yeah. I mean, bro, like, I remember actually this is an early testing when we were doing this for it ended up being Wild Rift, the mobile version of League of Legends. We literally had specific phones that had the game installed in them, like at Riot, like at the Riot HQ, and then they were put into like suitcases that were like fully locked. They were like full on, like you could not get there. Only a few people had access to them.
Yeah, like, I've been to studios before where you're going to test the games or try them out, and they'll have a PC that's in like a giant lockbox. You'll have to sign like God knows how many NDAs before you go into the room. And that's through a bunch of checkpoints as well. So this is like huge for Rockstar. I can't imagine how the devs are feeling, man. That's what's on my mind. The
effect of a leak always hits the devs harder than the actual like effect of what it will do to the community or to the like. This is always true when things leaked on League, or like when there were like leaks about Valorant stuff, like the actual extent of the people who knew about the leak or like who felt stuff about it in the community, that energy is like 100x at the studio.
Yeah.
The studio, it's all anyone can talk about it. It's rough. Yeah.
I like the response online as well, though. Like a lot of the people that just don't know how game development works and are judging their work based on what they're seeing right now. Oh,
dude, this is why, like, oh my God. One of the things we used to do when we play tested new games at Riot, we would actually have people play other undeveloped games first, or just like kind of like jankier games with like low fidelity graphics, just to basically condition people to the fact that like you're gonna play something that's super janky and you have to squint to see like what the broader vision is. All of the polish that people are used to that's the other thing, is like it's really hard for people with like a GTA game because they're used to Rockstar's level of polish. So
yeah, I've been and played AAA titles before that have like, they've been like 6 months to maybe a year out from release, and have the best build that you're able to play is like something that's got the world that's like all block, like white blocks everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. And simple paths that you can follow, because the polish all comes right at the end, right where they put everything together.
Yeah. Besides that being tough, what I've been talking to my chat about and trying to spin on a positive is like what I'm looking forward to GTA 6. So I'm curious for you, like I already have like a little bit of like a disagreement with my community. If I was designing GTA 6, and again, like I was explaining to my chat, like the design stuff I do is like I never do individual design on any mechanics, on any on like a mission or a task or a map. Mine is like you might have known like the stuff that I do is like basically I only work on games during like the first like 6 months of a game's life during like the incubation phase, and then I pass it off to a production team.
Right. Yeah.
That
sounds about. I was listening to what you were saying about you're essentially setting the roadmap for the game, right?
Yeah.
And the strategy for its release and how it's got, what its life cycle is going to look like.
Which
design elements that play into that.
Which, to be fair, is actually it actually isn't. This is why I never really explain on stream or to other people what my job as a dev was, because the vast majority of studios do not have that position. Because like, let's say you're making like, The Last of Us, you don't really need my job for that. Like there's a lot of like AAA games that don't, they have like, typically the producer will just like a production team will handle that, or like some of the lead designers will. My job is more for like, if you worked at Riot or Epic and you're trying to design a game that's going to be around for 10 years and generate a couple $2 billion of revenue. Like, it's like, hey, we're developing a full experience. How do we lay the foundation for that?
Yeah, I feel like Rockstar didn't have that, especially when GTA 5 was first released, because you could tell, like, as soon as online was a great idea. And I believe the lead online producer, I think his name is Imran Sarwar, he did a lot of interviews with CVG before it came out. And he was talking about all these different ideas for what GTA Online could be, and then it could have a bunch of different maps and all this, but it was all like speculative stuff and like things that could happen. But when it came out, you realize that they didn't really think about it all that much. It was some very basic stuff that just played off the sandbox that was the single player, right?
Yeah.
And there was even stuff like you could trade cash at the time, which was an awful idea, because you could buy cash through shark cards, and you could sell cars and all that stuff and trade things between people. Eventually removed that, and then obviously at some point, maybe like a year or two after GTA was out, was where they really started to go over GTA Online roadmap and really push the shark guard stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like with GTA 6, I feel like Rockstar's bread and butter is making really cool sandboxes, and I still feel like they'll be passionate and focus on the single player, where they make this super immersive world and a really cool story to follow, but they'll definitely be prepared for online more so this time, I think. I think Red Dead was a flop. They had a plan for it, but they knew that it wouldn't really last as much as like a relatable modern open world game, right?
God, I love Red Dead so much, but it really just is tough because of it's super limited in its audience.
Yeah.
I mean, arguably, like when you think about it, like that's what's like GTA has the most accessible IP and theme ever. It will always have that, right? Like even Cyberpunk, there's even a lot of people who don't really want to fuck with like futuristic stuff, but I'd argue even Cyberpunk is way ahead of the theme and world of Red Dead.
Yeah, even like Cyberpunk's like a niche, right?
Yeah, it's still a little bit niche, yeah.
Whereas GTA is just so relatable for everyone because it's based on modern society, and they just make a sandbox out of that, and they can make whatever mechanics they want around that, and it'll be super relatable for the vast majority of people.
I think the part where I actually would disagree with you, I was like, sure, creating like, and again, the sandbox is everything, because it's kind of everything for both the single player and the online, is creating just an incredibly immersive map. But for me, like if I'm building GTA 6, I actually look at GTA 5 and I say, okay, cool. We actually crushed it on the single player and the story. We don't need to do anything else. We need to just do basically that again. We don't have to surpass expectations on that. We just have to meet what GTA 5's story was. And then all of the extra energy and money and dev work I'm putting into what I would consider is like the GTA 6 like metaverse, which really is GTA Online, but allowing it to have those metaverse components. And when I say it, I'm not saying like the cringy NFT way or like the Facebook way, but like basically like what Fortnite has done, where I bring in events from the real world and incorporate them into my online platform, right? Like, so in a lot of ways, it's kind of like what we do in RP, but do the real life versions of it. Like I would literally be like, yo, we're gonna like Marshmello's gonna host a concert in GTA now. Now, instead of it being in like the Marshmallow concert that was done in Fortnite, it's like in all of these online instances for GTA 6 Online, Marshmallow comes in and throws a concert, right? And that's how people get to experience that.
Yeah.
Brands,
GTA's a tricky one though.
like, yeah, because but brands have already shown that they're willing to play ball with them.
Yeah, I guess. But my best example I could give you is like when it comes to, let's say vehicles especially. Let's say Porsche or Ferrari tried to do something with GTA, they're going to have to abide by a lot of strict guidelines from that manufacturer. Which is why they essentially rip off IRL manufacturers, right? And they don't have to pay a licensing, and they can do whatever they want with the cars. Because certain cars that they might have to bring in, like a Porsche or Ferrari, for example, they will say, right, we can't have this car deformed too much in certain ways. There needs to be a certain safety cage on it, right? So it doesn't look bad when their car breaks or whatever. So I know a lot of racing games have to deal with that, and they say you can't customize it in this way or that way, right? Which is why they've always done spoof things of gone very satire with a lot of the stuff they do, especially like things not including cars. But
even now, they did official partnerships with brands in GTA Online recently, right? Like Rockstar did.
Yeah, they've done things with like certain they've done it with the club stuff, right? And some DLC where they'll have like certain artists, IRL real world artists, like perform in game and do stuff in there. So I guess like what you're saying with the metaverse and bringing some things into it, I think can work, but I still feel like it's very limited in a way.
I talk about this all the time. It's like the biggest metaverses are Roblox, Minecraft, and Fortnite, right? Like the idea that like these weird NFT companies are trying to like build a metaverse with their NFTs, or Facebook's trying to build it from the top down. It's like, no, actually the biggest metaverses are already these like video game communities where people just go to hang out, and people have value inside of them that, items, collectibles and stuff that's important to them. They just go to hang out with their friends. What's actually interesting is that the only thing I would, if I was Rockstar, the only thing I would actually care about or pull from the RP communities is, instead of being like, oh, we want to allow NoPixel to run, and ignoring all that, what they should do is they should look at the RP communities and be like, oh, here's the more inclusive or like broader range of content that occurs in roleplay, and we should create our own, like, not necessarily like roleplay version of it, but like kind of like more guided experiences of that in our next GTA Online. Again, if I'm Rockstar, I'm like, I don't want GTA to just be it's probably primarily a male audience, but I want it to be way more inclusive to like a female audience, to a younger audience. I want to basically offer things that aren't just like cops and robbers. I want to offer, like, especially going deeper into like the civ experience. I'm talking about specifically online, like not related to the story.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, they will face some of the same challenges that the NoPixel devs have had, which is like balancing a server to not just be pure cops and robbers. You basically like that you want parts of GTA Online to feel closer to Animal Crossing than you do to like GTA, if that makes sense.
It's very hard though, because one trend I've noticed with GTA 5 Online, like the base GTA Online was very simple. It was very somewhat realistic, at least whatever you would consider realistic for GTA. And then over time, it's gotten crazier and crazier, like flying bikes, orbital strikes, crazy shit like that, because they know that's what brings in a younger audience essentially, and they'll be the ones that are more willing to spend, right? And are less cautious about their spending. Okay, there's one thing that worries me about online.
The people in my chat are saying GTA isn't for kids. Guys, kids love GTA. I'm pretty sure I played GTA before I was 18. Fuck off.
Yeah, you can.
Like,
yeah, I've played it all as I was growing up. You can say as much as you want that it's not for kids, but kids are going to play it, and they're going to be the moneymaker, or a younger audience at least. They're going to be the big moneymaker when it comes to selling shark cards and stuff like that. One thing I've noticed though is, especially as a vehicle dev, and I've seen these new vehicles and stuff that they bring out, and might be a bit judgmental of me, but to see some of the cars they bring out, like supercars and the stuff that obviously Take-Two wants to be included and that are big hitters, you can see not a ton of passion has been poured into some of these vehicles and whatnot. The ones that are going to be the super flashy ones. But like they'll bring out like an old school Japanese car that's just got like a ridiculous amount of detail, right? You can tell that the vehicle artist has poured a ton of effort and passion into building a car like that. So they still want to create that super immersive world, right? But there's certain things that they're going to have to abide by, and they're going to have to line Take-Two's pockets essentially with the things they know that sell, which has me worried about GTA Online and its longevity. But I feel like still the base game, they're going to make sure it isn't too crazy because they know it works with GTA 5 Online, right?
Yeah, I mean, even
worries me.
What's funny is that in some ways that even mirrors some of the development of of NoPixel, right? Where in NoPixel, it way more pulled back. There's no for first couple months in the server there were no explosives, right? And now
the first straight after a wipe, it'll be very serious. Nobody has any money. Everyone's super cautious about what they do. As a life cycle of the server goes on naturally, and we've seen it a good number of times, especially on other servers as well. People want more action, more things to do, and then it just gets to the new standard is now boring, right? And you have to one up it every single time, and then the server gets to a certain point. We then roll it back and wipe it, and then we can
which is
turn
okay.
it back again, which is similar to
okay, right?
GTA, I think.
Yeah,
and we'll see it with other GTA installments in the future as well.
Yeah, and that escalation isn't necessarily bad. I mean, if you don't have new things coming out, it does just get dry and boring. What's funny is that conversation right there, you can almost tie to any games that have had longevity.
You can see it with Call of Duty, right? Call of Duty was super basic, but every new installment of COD always has crazier, wackier shit, right? Flaming dogs is I've not played Call of Duty recently, but I'd look at something, they've got flaming dogs as pets that are next to them with crazy skins and flaming heads and all kinds of crazy shit. I think it's just the natural life cycle of any development process, really, to get the next cool, crazy shit. Yeah,
look at Fortnite. I mean, the whole meme this year is you've got Darth Vader Kamehamehaing Goku or some shit, and all the just fucking wild stuff going on. And some people say they hate it, but at the end of the day, it is what keeps the games fresh. And obviously, you can overdo it. It's not to say, always add new stuff, always make it bigger. No, sometimes people overdo it. League of Legends is that way too. I mean, League just started adding in crazier champions, right? I think so. Someone in my chat was it's called Grand Theft Auto. It's a game about cops and robbers. If you want to make a different game, why don't you make a different game? And that is one of the worst takes ever, because that's literally what we're talking about. It's you can even look at the life cycle of all the GTA games to see how it expands bigger and bigger with each title. Yeah, the first GTAs were truly cops and robbers, and then all of a sudden you added in kind of other illegal stuff going on. You had added in racing, became a part of GTA, and then all of a sudden the music scene, why is the music scene a part of cops and robbers? But the music scene is even a big thing in GTA Online, right? You can actually look at NoPixel as almost a reflection, where it's how much there's obviously a lot of the big crews in NoPixel are about drug runs, cops and robbers kind of stuff. It's actually there's really crazy, the whole idea of going around and gold panning and then selling your golds. A lot of the activities that are the civ jobs in GTA, or sorry, in NoPixel, the civ jobs in NoPixel are closer to playing Animal Crossing than they are to playing the base game of GTA.
I think it's hard though because it's for Rockstar to justify adding a bunch of stuff like that. It'll be interesting to see where they go though. Especially they've obviously been watching RP and how that's developed since the release of GTA 5. So it'll be interesting to see if they take any elements from stuff they've seen in NoPixel or even other servers.
Yeah, I think a lot of
add that into the online experience.
I think
they're gonna. Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say, to that point, it's I think a lot of people think that they look at NoPixel and oh, why won't they just let there be a NoPixel server RP? I don't think they look at it like that. I think it's exactly what you said, which is they watch probably the RP stuff to get inspiration almost from a mechanics basis, or these are things that players like to do. That's where I think they get the inspiration.
The one thing they're not gonna do though is I don't think they're gonna make an RP support thing, because RP is very much based around the community and the people that manage it, and that is what determines a lot of the success of a roleplay server, right? You just give an RP kind of thing to a GTA Online community, they're not gonna play it how it's meant to be played, right?
Yeah,
they're just gamers at the end of the day. They're not role players.
Well, that's what I was saying. I think what they want to do, what I would want to do if I was them, is try to branch it out so that there are versions of their like GTA Online that, I mean, for instance, they could literally launch servers that like, hey, this is an explosives free server and doesn't include the fucking what are those, the like motorbikes that everyone drives around and kills people with?
Yeah, the oppressors, the flying bike.
Yeah, like there's a world where they could lean into it and be like, hey, like these are like, hey, this is just a wild like series of wild servers, and then here's some like servers that are like more curated.
At the same time though, I feel like they know they can't manage something like that, but something like NoPixel or roleplay servers that are managed by a good community can are better left to their own devices, if that makes sense. So leave them to their own devices and let them create content. Essentially, it's free marketing, right?
Yeah, this is. I don't know how much you could answer. Like, if you can't answer this or like don't even want to say, like, everyone always brings this up to me though. Which why does Rockstar not work with NoPixel? Why do they not do this? And to me, there's always interesting answers to this, and I'm curious what yours is. Here's my take on it. It's like it would be a smart decision or Rockstar, like let's say when GTA 6 comes out, to be like, hey, here's GTA Online, also we partnered with NoPixel and here's their server for GTA Online, which is largely like, you know, but like I could see that being smart. The thing I always tell my community is that it's like, it's just not a priority. It's like,
it's not,
it's just like, yeah, there's just a million other things that they care about more than that.
Yeah, and it's like if they acknowledge us or they work publicly with us or any modders or anything like that, then it's just like a whole load of trouble they don't need, right? Whereas they really should shut us down on 5M, but they just kind of let it be, right? And you've seen recently, especially with the Quant V stuff, where they've stepped into, or Take-Two have stepped in to shut it down because it affects their player base.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of says, like, we know you're there. Just don't do anything to harm our player base and you're good. You know what I mean?
I think that people need to realize that while a partnership is like, could be a good thing, it's just never on the list of priority. And honestly,
it's not necessary, really.
And the best case scenario is probably that they just let it exist and just chill.
And then you open up a whole can of worms with like the intellectual property thing, like what can you and can't you do with it? And it's just like a legal headache they kind of want to avoid and don't need to meddle with, I guess.
People, for some reason, and I always see these messages, people like, oh, but like GTRP has kept GTA relevant. It's like, no. NoPixel and GTRP and like a lot of the RP servers are really good for viewers and the streamers. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Rockstar doesn't give fuck all about it. And it's another thing. It's like, oh, but what about all the great advertising? Like, dude, GTA 6 does not give a shit about a few 100,000 eyeballs on Twitch watching role players for something as big as Grand Theft Auto 6 when it comes out. Their marketing,
as much viewership as NoPixel gets, it's still a very small piece of the pie, really.
I mean, that's also the like it's a broader commentary on like Twitch viewership, like GTA. It's not to like downplay what GTA and NoPixel like. Yeah, again, you know, to your credit, like NoPixel has literally been one of the most transformative things on Twitch. But that's on Twitch. People forget how small Twitch is to the broader like gaming and marketing ecosystem.
Yeah, I still feel like it's a big impact in terms of giving it some longevity. Not in the grand scheme of things with all the player base in GTA, but you know, the kind of trickle down effect of there'll be a bunch of people watching GTA and people will buy GTA and people will tell their friends about it, all that jazz, kind of marketing 101. But ultimately, it's, you know, it's just, like I said, a small piece of the pie, really.
Yeah.
It's not huge, and they haven't had to do anything with us. The player base has kind of modded GTA to high heaven, right?
Yep.
And NoPixel's come out of essentially nowhere, and Rockstar haven't had to intervene, and they haven't had to bother with it, and it's been a huge success. And even if it does help push the game, you know, keep it alive for a bit, for whatever portion of player base it brings in, is, you know, it's they don't need to touch it. Like when GTA 6 comes out, if they let us mod stuff, they'll leave us to our own devices, and then it doesn't bother them, and it only benefits them, really. Leaving
it to their own devices, probably their best play. And I think they probably have had these conversations somewhere
Yeah.
internally where they're like, oh yeah, we'll probably just let them do what they want. Like, yeah, it is. And my chat pointed this out. It also is really different when you have like Rockstar versus Take-Two. You have the publisher versus the devs, and like, you know, there's always tricky stuff that comes in with that too.
I mentioned this earlier on my stream that there was like a big scare a few years ago where they tried to shut down OpenIV and even like 5M, but then there was such a huge backlash from the community that they just kind of like let us be, sort of thing. I have been a little worried, whereas like, you know, once GTA comes out, they could say, right, this time we're not going to let modding develop a community on this game as to not create a backlash, right? At the same time, the modding community is so huge on GTA 5, especially as its end of life, so to speak, that community would carry over and expect the same stuff on the next installment of GTA. So.
And those are their like those are also the people who are arguably still spent like what's funny is the modders are actually some of the people probably spending a lot of money on GTA Online and are deep in GTA Online too. Like they're like the most passionate people about the entire scene.
Yeah, I mean, I came into NoPixel after spending years on GTA Online and pushing GTA Online stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I started doing cars and I found NoPixel.
I have a Fall Guys lobby that I have to get to in a sec, but I wanted to ask you actually, like, what are like at like a really high level, yes, ignoring leaks and all that stuff, like at a really high level, like what are you like most excited for about like a GTA 6? Like what would you be like, yo, I want to see this in the game? Like, what would be like the one or two things?
The thing that excites me the most about GTA is honestly just the sandbox they give us, to be honest. It's always been a big thing for me, especially before NoPixel. It was like, what would the longevity of the online look like? And just the freedom they give the player in online and in a social environment, right?
And in just such a detailed map too. They always knock that out of the park.
The map's a big thing, but it's more just like the world itself and what it allows you to do. And then, like I said, what opportunities it gives you like socially online to do, and what you can build up over time. But since I've joined NoPixel, my idea of that has changed. It's just mostly about the sandbox now, right? If we can mod it, as long as the world's great and there's like a lot of tools we can use and dissect and pull apart, that's the best thing for us. I think we can make something cool out of it ourselves.
I think this is sort of my vision or dream. I've even talked about this as like something that I like wanted to see either NoPixel do. By the way, this is really hard to do, and it's almost like it almost needs Rockstar to do this. This is like my other ultimate vision for GTA 6 is a lot of people have already speculated, okay, it's Vice City, it's Miami or whatever. So now imagine this. 2 years later, they bring all of those everything they've done for GTA 6, all the new animations, the mechanics, the core gameplay, how the cars work, and they build that into another map, which is Liberty City. And all of a sudden, when we're playing GTA 6, in the year 2025, we have Liberty City, and and they did this. They would do these expansions in GTA, like their DLC and stuff. But instead of DLC just being new story mode missions within that map, I think their bigger vision could be multi-city. So now in 2025, we have Liberty City and Vice City, and then 2027 we have Liberty City, Los Santos, and Vice City, all to the same degree of like, because at some point, once they get a lot of stuff in, building the additional maps isn't too crazy because they actually already have the like base maps built out.
I mean, it was what they wanted to do in GTA 5, but I think it was too ambitious at the time.
Yeah, I know they wanted.
I definitely think for longevity, that is how they're gonna go. They'll include huge new maps, and then rather than it being single player DLCs, it'll be free to play, but you'll be able to continue like an online story in these new places, and they'll probably tie a lot of the shit they do in single player like into multiplayer and flesh that kind of story side out a lot more.
Yeah, my chat said like the biggest issue with that is literally a storage issue. I mean, for console, it'd have to be multiple discs, or it's like good luck if you have a base console that doesn't have bigger storage. On PC, you'd run it like, I think COD does this, and some games do, where you actually run its separate files. I don't know. Maybe they'll come up with like that'd be an area of like tech innovation for them. Like what does it look like to be able to fly into an instance of another giant map?
It's like GTA 5 uses something called Phong-based shading right now, which is just one simple like specular map is what it's called. And I assumed with GTA 6, and I won't confirm anything from the leaks or anything like that, But Red Dead used it as well as a PBR based shading. We can essentially have the same level of detail on a model, but the shading and the different maps you use, instead of specularly, you use metallic and roughness. And that makes things look 10 times more realistic. And that's where like ray tracing and all that jazz comes in and plays a bigger effect on things that are shaded that way.
Yeah. Also, Wise Guy say, I gotta hop to this Fall Guys lobby, but yo.
Yep.
Good fucking
right,
talking to you, man. Yo,
yeah.
Dude, I'm just excited. I'm also just like, I'm gonna ignore the leaks, but I'm just excited, man. Like, it's like GTA 6 feels real. Like it's actually gonna happen. I'm like, I just like talking to people who are as passionate about it. Like, cause it's like, I know it's gonna be like a world that I'm gonna be in for like another decade. Like, that's what's crazy, man. I'm gonna be in that world for another decade. Yeah. Like, holy shit.
So am I. It's gonna be pretty fucking nuts.
All right, I'll be
Have
there.
fun
with
on
you,
Fall
man.
Guys, man.
Yep, take it easy. Peace, man. Thanks for coming and talking. See ya.
Yep.
Chad, that was sick. That was fucking amazing. We need to do just more like calls like that. Fuck, dude. Talking with Wise Guy about that. Fuck, man. Like, yeah, he knows his shit. He really knows his shit. Wise Guy could be, if he wanted to, could be snatched up in a second by any major AAA company. Like, dude, and even like the big boys. Like, dude, if Riot or like Epic or like any of these companies, and he was like, yo, I want to do something for you guys, he wouldn't even have to say what. He's like, yo, I'm interested in just working for you guys. They would make something for him to do. Like, guy's an actual legend.